Welcome to Speak English Confident. I'm really happy you're here today. Many English learners tell me something very honest. They say, I know English words, I know grammar, but sometimes conversations feel stressful. Not because English is difficult, but because people ask personal questions. Questions that feel sudden. Questions that feel too private. Questions that make your brain freeze. Today, we're talking about something very real. How to handle uncomfortable personal questions in English with calm confidence. Because language is not only vocabulary. Language is also emotional safety. Yes, this topic already makes me nervous. Sometimes people ask things that surprise me, and I don't know if I should answer or avoid or change the topic. Then I worry I sound rude. Exactly. Many learners think the problem is English skill, but actually the problem is social confidence. You are trying to be polite, respectful, friendly, and protect your privacy at the same time. That's not easy, even for native speakers. That's good to hear, because sometimes I feel like I'm the only one uncomfortable. Oh no, this happens everywhere in the world. Let's start with a simple truth. Different cultures have different ideas about personal questions. In some places, asking about age, salary, marriage, or family is normal conversation. In other places, those same questions feel very private. So when someone asks you something personal in English, it does not always mean they want to be rude. Sometimes they are just trying to connect. Yes, I think that's important, because my first reaction is often panic. My brain says, oh no, what do I say? And today, we're going to train your brain to stay calm. Let's imagine a real situation. You meet someone new, maybe at work, maybe at a party, maybe online, and suddenly they ask, are you married? Yes, that question comes very fast. Exactly. Now, many learners make one of two mistakes. First mistake, they answer even if they feel uncomfortable. Second mistake, they become silent or look shocked. Both reactions create stress. Instead, we want a third option, a polite boundary. A polite boundary. I like that phrase. A polite boundary means you stay kind, you stay respectful, but you also protect yourself. Let's practice. If someone asks, are you married? You can say, I like to keep my personal life private, but thank you for asking. Notice something important. You did not attack the person. You did not apologize too much. You simply shared your preference. That sounds calm, but honestly, I worry it sounds too serious. Good question. Tone matters more than words. If your voice is warm, people understand you are not angry. Let me give you softer versions. You could say, I'm focusing on myself these days, or that's a long story, or I'll tell you another time. These answers move the conversation away from the question without creating tension. Oh, I see. So I don't always need to say no. I can gently change direction. Exactly. In English conversation, this skill is called deflecting. Deflecting means redirecting attention. You are not refusing the conversation, you are guiding it somewhere safer. That feels much more natural, because sometimes I do want to continue talking, just not about that topic. Yes, and confident speakers know something important. You are allowed to choose what you share. Now, let's explore another very common situation. Someone asks, how much money do you make? Yes, that one makes me very uncomfortable. Many native English speakers also feel uncomfortable with that question, so you are not alone. Here are natural responses. You could say, I'm comfortable with my situation, or I prefer not to talk about salary. Simple, clear, polite. I notice something. Your answers are short. Very good observation. When you feel nervous, long explanations create more stress. Short sentences give you control. Let's practice together. I'll ask you a personal question. You answer with a calm boundary. Ready? Okay, I'll try. How old are you? I feel young. That's actually excellent. You used humor. Humor is a powerful communication tool. It relaxes the situation. Another option could be old enough to enjoy life. I like that. It feels friendly instead of defensive. Exactly. Confidence does not mean seriousness. Confidence often sounds relaxed. Now, let's talk about why these questions feel difficult in English. Many learners translate feelings from their native language, but emotional communication changes between cultures. In English-speaking environments, people often value personal choice, individual boundaries, and emotional comfort. So protecting your privacy is usually respected. That makes me feel safer, because sometimes I think I must answer everything to be polite. You never have to share more than you want. Politeness is not obedience. Politeness is kindness, including kindness towards yourself. Let's imagine another real-life scenario. You meet coworkers for lunch. Someone asks, "So, are you planning to buy a house soon?" I'm still figuring things out. Good question. Tone matters more than words. If your voice is warm, people understand you are not angry. Let me give you softer versions. You could say, I'm focusing on myself these days, or that's a long story, or I'll tell you another time. These answers move the conversation away from the question without creating tension. Oh, I see. So I don't always need to say no. I can gently change direction. Exactly. In English conversation, this skill is called deflecting. Deflecting means redirecting attention. You're not refusing the conversation, you are guiding it somewhere safer. That feels much more natural, because sometimes I do want to continue talking, just not about that topic. Yes, and confident speakers know something important. You are allowed to choose what you share. Now, let's explore another very common situation. Someone asks, "How much money do you make?" Yes, that one makes me very uncomfortable. Many native English speakers also feel uncomfortable with that question, so you are not alone. Here are natural responses. You could say, I'm comfortable with my situation, or I prefer not to talk about salary. Simple, clear, polite. I notice something. Your answers are short. Very good observation. When you feel nervous, long explanations create more stress. Short sentences give you control. Let's practice together. I'll ask you a personal question. You answer with a calm boundary. Ready? Okay, I'll try. How old are you? I feel young. That's actually excellent. You used humor. Humor is a powerful communication tool. It relaxes the situation. Another option could be old enough to enjoy life. I like that. It feels friendly instead of defensive. Exactly. Confidence does not mean seriousness. Confidence often sounds relaxed. Now, let's talk about why these questions feel difficult in English. Many learners translate feelings from their native language, but emotional communication changes between cultures. In English-speaking environments, people often value personal choice, individual boundaries, and emotional comfort. So protecting your privacy is usually respected. That makes me feel safer because sometimes I think I must answer everything to be polite. You never have to share more than you want. Politeness is not obedience. Politeness is kindness, including kindness towards yourself. Let's imagine another real-life scenario. You meet coworkers for lunch. Someone asks, "So, are you planning to buy a house soon?" I'm still figuring things out. Good question. Tone matters more than words. If your voice is warm, people understand you are not angry. Let me give you softer versions. You could say, "I'm focusing on myself these days."
I keep thinking about something you said earlier. You said, confidence is not about escaping uncomfortable questions, but learning to handle them. I realize that many times I try to escape conversations instead. If someone asks something personal, I change the topic very fast, or I pretend I didn't hear. Sometimes I even check my phone. That is very human. Many people use avoidance when they feel emotionally unprepared. But avoidance often creates more anxiety later. You may leave the conversation thinking, did I sound strange? Did I offend them? Why couldn't I answer? Yes, exactly. Afterward, I replay the moment in my mind again and again. That happens because your brain wants closure. A confident response gives emotional closure. Today, we're building a toolkit, simple responses you can use anytime. Let's talk about another common situation. Someone asks about your future plans. Questions like, when will you get promoted? When will you move abroad? What are you doing next year? These questions sound normal, but sometimes they create pressure. Yes, especially when I don't know the answer myself. Then I feel embarrassed. And that's completely okay. You don't need a perfect life plan to have a confident conversation. Here are natural English responses. I'm still exploring my options. I'm taking things step by step. I'm open to opportunities. Notice how these answers sound positive without giving specific details. I like step by step. It feels calm. Exactly. Native speakers often use flexible language when life feels uncertain. You don't need certainty, you need comfort. Let's practice emotional tone. Say this sentence with a relaxed feeling. I'm still figuring things out. I'm still figuring things out. Very good. That sentence communicates honesty and confidence at the same time. Now let's explore another emotional situation. Family gatherings. Many learners tell me this is the hardest place to communicate boundaries. Relatives ask many personal questions. Yes, family questions are strong everywhere. Yes, and because family relationships are emotional, answers must feel respectful. Imagine an aunt asks, "Why don't you visit more often?" You might feel guilt immediately. Instead of defending yourself, try, "I'd love to visit more. Life has been busy lately." You acknowledge emotion without explaining everything. That sounds kind. Kindness reduces conflict. Another example. When are you going to settle down? You can respond, "I'm enjoying where life is taking me right now." You are not rejecting their concern. You are expressing personal happiness. I notice these answers are very positive. Yes, positive language protects relationships. Even when setting boundaries, positivity keeps connection alive. Now let's talk about workplace conversations. Sometimes coworkers ask questions that feel too personal. For example, why are you still living with your parents? Why didn't you go to university? Why did you change careers? Those questions feel like judgment. They can feel that way, but remember something important. A question does not always equal criticism. Sometimes people are simply curious. Your response controls the emotional direction. You could say, "That experience helped me grow a lot," or It was the right decision for me at that time. Short, calm, confident. I like that it doesn't sound defensive. Exactly. Defensiveness creates tension. Confidence creates calm. Let's do a role play. I'll be a coworker again. Why did you leave your previous company? I was ready to learn something new. Excellent. You stayed professional and positive. Now let's add a communication technique called bridging. Bridging means answering briefly, then guiding the conversation somewhere comfortable. Example, that was an interesting period in my life, but I'm really excited about my current project. You answered, then redirected. So I don't stay stuck in the uncomfortable topic. Exactly. You build a bridge to a safer subject. Let's practice. I ask a question, you answer and redirect. How much did your new phone cost? It was a good investment, and I'm really enjoying the camera. Perfect. You moved from price to experience. That feels natural in English conversation. Now I want to discuss emotional reactions. Sometimes uncomfortable questions trigger strong feelings: embarrassment, shame, stress, anger. When emotions rise, English becomes harder. Yes, my vocabulary disappears. That happens because emotion and language share mental energy. So we use calming phrases to buy time. These are called pause phrases. Examples: that's an interesting question. I've never thought about that. Good question. These phrases give your brain a few seconds to relax. Oh, that's useful, because silence feels scary. Exactly. A pause phrase replaces silence. Let's practice. I'll ask quickly. Why aren't you earning more money? That's an interesting question. I'm focusing on learning and growing right now. Excellent. You used a pause and then a confident answer. Now let's talk about humor again. Humor is powerful, but must feel gentle. For example, how old are you? You could say, I stopped counting after 25. That feels friendly. Yes, humor softens boundaries. But remember, humor should feel warm, not sarcastic. Warm humor builds connection. Sarcasm can create distance. I understand. So smile in the voice. Exactly. Your tone communicates safety. Now let's explore online conversations. Many learners meet people through social media, gaming, or international communities. Online conversations often become personal very quickly. People ask, where exactly do you live? Are you single? What is your income? Send me a photo. Yes, online questions can feel even more uncomfortable. And here, boundaries are especially important. You can say, I prefer to keep some things private online, or I'm here to practice English and make friends. This sounds strong but polite. Yes, clear intention prevents misunderstanding. Let's practice another situation. Someone keeps asking personal questions after you already avoided them. This happens sometimes. Yes, some people don't understand hints. Then we move from soft boundaries to firm kindness. You can say, I hope you understand I'm not comfortable discussing that. This sentence is respectful and clear. I notice you still sound calm. Always calm. Confidence is calm repetition. You don't need new explanations. You simply repeat your boundary politely. That feels powerful. It is, because true confidence is consistency. Now let's talk about emotional self-talk. Before answering, many learners think, I must answer perfectly. I must not sound rude. They will judge me. These thoughts create pressure. Instead, try this mindset. I can respond kindly and still protect myself. That feels more balanced. Yes, balance creates natural speech. Let's do a deeper role play now. Imagine you are at an international event. You meet someone new. I will ask several personal questions naturally, like real conversation. Answer calmly. So, how much do you earn in your job? I'm comfortable with my situation, thank you. And are you planning to marry soon? I'm enjoying life as it is right now. Do you live alone? I like keeping my personal life private, but I appreciate your interest. Excellent. Notice something important. You remained friendly the entire time.
No tension, no apology, no long explanation. I actually feel proud. You should. You are learning conversational independence, and independence makes English feel freeing instead of stressful. Now, let's explore vocabulary naturally used in these moments. Words like private, personal, comfortable, prefer, focus, right now. These words are soft but powerful. They help you express boundaries without conflict. I see why simple vocabulary works best. Yes, advanced English is not complicated English. Advanced English is emotionally intelligent English. Let's imagine another real-life moment. A friend asks, "Why don't you drink alcohol?" That happens often. You can say, "It's just my personal choice," or "I feel better this way." No explanation needed. That feels respectful towards myself. Exactly. Self-respect and politeness can exist together. Now I want you to imagine future conversations. Someone asks a personal question. Your body stays relaxed. Your breathing stays calm. You smile gently. You answer simply. You guide the conversation forward. This is confident English communication. I feel like I'm learning social skills, not just language. Because real fluency includes emotional skill. Words are tools. Confidence is the energy behind them. And as you practice these responses, your brain learns, "I am safe speaking English." When your brain feels safe, speaking becomes natural. I think that is the biggest change, feeling safe. Yes, and from this feeling, your voice becomes clearer, warmer, more authentic. Let's continue exploring real conversations together.
Let's continue with something many learners quietly experience. Sometimes the uncomfortable question is not asked by a stranger. It comes from someone you like, a friend, a colleague, someone you respect. And that makes answering even harder.
Yes, because I don't want to hurt the relationship. If a stranger asks something personal, it's easier. But when a friend asks, I feel pressure to be honest.
That's very true. Close relationships create emotional expectations. You may think, if I don't answer, maybe they will feel rejected. But here is an important idea. Honesty does not mean sharing everything. Healthy communication includes boundaries.
I never thought about it like that. I always believed good communication meant complete openness.
Many people believe that, but emotional maturity means choosing what to share, when to share, and with whom. Let's imagine a situation. A coworker you like asks, "Why did your last relationship end?" That question can feel very personal.
Yes, that question carries memories and emotions.
Exactly. Instead of explaining painful details, you can say, "It was a learning experience for me." Simple, respectful, complete. You answered honestly without reopening emotional wounds.
I like that answer. It sounds thoughtful.
Yes, thoughtful language creates emotional safety. Another option, "We wanted different things in life." Again, short and calm.
So the goal is not avoiding truth, but protecting emotional space.
Beautifully said. Now let's talk about a common fear. Many learners worry that setting boundaries will make them sound cold, but confidence actually makes you warmer because you speak without fear.
That's interesting. Fear sometimes makes my voice sound tense.
Exactly. When you feel pressured, your tone changes. You speak faster. Your voice becomes tight. Your mind searches for perfect grammar. Instead, we slow down. Confidence often sounds slower. Let's practice slowing your speech. Say this sentence calmly. I prefer not to go into details.
I prefer not to go into details.
Very good. Notice how peaceful that feels? Now imagine someone asking you about your family situation. Maybe they ask, "Why don't you talk about your parents?" This can be emotionally sensitive. A natural response could be, "My family situation is a bit complicated, but I'm doing well." You acknowledge reality without inviting more questions.
That feels gentle.
Gentleness is powerful communication. Now I want to introduce another skill: acknowledge and shift. First, acknowledge the question. Second, shift the topic. Example: "That's a good question. I've been focusing a lot on work recently. How about you?" You return curiosity to the other person.
Oh, turning the question back.
Yes, people enjoy talking about themselves. Redirecting conversation often feels natural, not defensive. Let's practice. I ask you a personal question, you acknowledge and shift. I ask, "Why don't you earn more money yet?"
That's a fair question. I'm learning a lot in my current role. What do you enjoy most about your job?
Excellent. You protected yourself and strengthened connection. Now let's discuss another emotional situation. Sometimes questions trigger insecurity. For example, "Your English is good, but why isn't it perfect yet?"
That question hurts a little.
Yes, because it touches identity and effort. You could answer, "I'm improving every day," or "Learning a language is a long journey." Both responses show confidence and self-respect.
I like that it doesn't sound defensive.
Exactly. You are not proving yourself. You are simply sharing your reality. Now let's explore workplace pressure again. Imagine a manager asks, "Why are you quieter than others in meetings?"
That's a difficult one.
Yes. Instead of apologizing immediately, try, "I like to listen carefully before speaking." This reframes quietness as strength.
That sounds confident.
Confidence often means reframing. You present your qualities positively. Now let's talk about emotional boundaries with friends. Sometimes friends ask repeatedly about sensitive topics, maybe relationships, money, personal goals. If hints don't work, you can use gentle honesty. "I know you care about me, but that topic feels personal right now."
That sounds respectful and sincere.
Yes, you recognize their intention while protecting yourself. This balance is key in English conversation. Now I want to address something deeper. Many learners carry a hidden belief: "If I speak English, I must behave like native speakers." But communication is not imitation. You bring your own culture, values, and personality into English.
That feels freeing. Sometimes I feel I must change who I am when speaking English.
You don't change who you are, you expand how you express yourself. English becomes another voice, not another identity. And boundaries are part of identity. Let's do an emotional role play. Imagine you are at a dinner with new international friends. I'll ask questions that gradually become more personal. Answer naturally. "So, where do you live exactly?"
I live nearby and I really enjoy the area.
"And do you live alone?"
I like keeping some details private, but I'm very comfortable where I live.
"Are you dating anyone?"
I'm focusing on enjoying life these days.
Wonderful. You maintained warmth throughout the conversation. That is emotional intelligence.
I notice something. When I don't panic, English feels easier.
Yes, panic blocks language. Calm unlocks fluency. Now let's talk about body language. Even in voice communication, your breathing matters. Before answering a difficult question, pause. Breathe slowly. Relax your shoulders. Even listeners can hear calm breathing.
I never realized breathing affects speaking so much.
It changes everything. Confidence begins in the body, not vocabulary. Now let's explore a situation many learners face while traveling. You meet someone who asks, "Why are you traveling alone?" This question may feel judgmental or curious. You could answer, "I enjoy discovering places at my own pace." Positive, confident, complete.
That sounds adventurous instead of defensive.
Exactly. You define your story. Language gives you narrative control. Another example, "Why didn't you study abroad earlier?" Response, "Everyone's journey happens at the right time."
That sounds wise.
Simple sentences can sound deeply confident. Now let's discuss repetition. Sometimes people repeat personal questions because they don't notice your discomfort. You may need to repeat your boundary, and that is okay. You can calmly say again, "I prefer not to discuss that." No anger, no long explanation. Consistency builds respect.
I think repetition used to scare me. I worried I sounded rude.
Repetition with kindness is not rude, it is clarity. Now let's practice emotional confidence through mini responses. I'll give situations quickly, answer with calm boundaries. I ask, "Why are you still renting?"
I'm happy with my current situation.
"Why don't you work longer hours?"
I value balance in my life.
"Why are you so quiet?"
I enjoy listening and understanding people.
Excellent. You transformed potential criticism into strength.
I feel stronger answering this way.
That feeling is growing self-trust. When you trust yourself, conversations become easier. Now I want to address something emotional recovery. Sometimes you answer awkwardly. Sometimes words come out wrong. And afterward you think, "I should have said something better."
Yes, that happens often.
Here is important advice. You can always reset a conversation later. You might say, "Earlier, I didn't express myself clearly. I just prefer to keep that topic private." English conversations allow repair. Perfection is not required.
That removes a lot of pressure.
Good communication is flexible. You are allowed to learn in real time, and every conversation becomes practice for confidence.
I feel like I'm learning how to protect my energy while speaking English.
Exactly. Fluent speakers are not people who talk endlessly. They are people who choose. Let's continue by looking at a situation many learners rarely talk about. Sometimes the uncomfortable question is not only personal, sometimes it feels emotional. A question touches insecurity, past experiences, or self-doubt. And suddenly, the difficulty is not English anymore. It is vulnerability. Yes, sometimes a simple question feels heavy inside, even if the words are easy to understand. Exactly. Language and emotion are deeply connected. When emotions rise, your brain moves into protection mode. You may freeze, you may laugh nervously, you may answer too quickly just to escape the moment. Today, we practice something powerful, responding slowly and intentionally. I think I often answer too fast. I want the moment to end quickly. Many people do that, but speed often creates regret. Confidence allows space. Let's imagine someone asks, "Why are you still working in that job?" This question may sound curious, but it can feel critical. Instead of defending yourself, try a grounded response. "It works well for me right now." Simple, calm, complete. That feels peaceful. Peaceful answers reduce emotional pressure. Now, I want to introduce an important communication skill called emotional neutrality. Emotional neutrality means responding without absorbing negative energy. You acknowledge the question, but you don't carry its judgment. "So I don't need to react emotionally." Exactly. You respond, not react. Let's practice. I'll ask a slightly uncomfortable question. "Why don't you speak more during group discussions?" I like to listen carefully before sharing my ideas. Excellent. You turned a possible criticism into a strength. That is emotional neutrality. Now let's explore another real-life situation. Someone compares you to others. Your friend already bought a house. Your colleague got promoted faster. Others your age are more successful. Those comparisons feel uncomfortable everywhere. Yes, comparison questions often carry hidden pressure. Instead of explaining your entire life, try, "Everyone moves at a different pace." Or, "I'm happy with my own journey. I really like that. It feels confident without arguing." Exactly. Confidence rarely argues. Confidence states. Now let's talk about silence. Silence is one of the most powerful tools in conversation. After answering a personal question, many learners continue talking because they feel nervous, but silence can close a topic naturally. That's interesting. I usually keep talking because I worry the conversation feels awkward. Yes, many people do, but a calm pause signals completion. You answer, you smile, you pause. Most people naturally change the subject. Let's practice. I ask, "Why aren't you married yet?" You answer briefly, then stop. "I'm enjoying my life right now." Perfect. You didn't add explanation. You allowed the conversation to breathe. Now let's discuss situations where curiosity becomes persistence. Sometimes people continue asking personal questions even after polite answers. Yes, that situation makes me nervous. I don't want conflict. Understandable. Here we use layered boundaries. Layer 1, soft redirection. Layer 2, clear preference. Layer 3, firm boundary. Example progression. First response, "I'm still figuring things out." If they continue, I usually keep that private. If they continue again, "I hope you understand, but I'm not comfortable discussing this." I like this step-by-step approach. It feels respectful. Yes, boundaries can be gentle and strong at the same time. Now let's explore emotional confidence in professional environments. Imagine networking at a conference. Someone asks, "How old are you?" You might respond, "I focus more on experience than age." That sounds professional. Exactly. Professional English often reframes personal questions into professional values. Another example, "What is your salary expectation?" You could say, "I'm looking for a role that reflects my skills and growth." You stay confident without revealing personal numbers immediately. That feels useful for real situations. Yes, because confidence in English helps both social and career communication. Now let's talk about emotional triggers. Certain topics affect people deeply. Relationships, family, money, health, personal history. When these appear, your goal is not perfect language. Your goal is emotional stability. How can I stay stable in that moment? 3 small steps. First, breathe slowly. Second, lower your speaking speed. Third, choose a prepared phrase. Prepared phrases act like emotional anchors. Examples, "I'd rather talk about something lighter." Or, "That topic is meaningful to me, but I keep it private." Or, "I appreciate your interest." Prepared phrases feel like safety tools. Exactly. You carry them into conversations like emotional support. Now let's practice a longer role play. Imagine you are meeting new friends at dinner. The conversation becomes gradually personal. Respond naturally. "So, why did you move away from your hometown?" "I wanted new experiences and opportunities." "Do you miss your family?" "Of course, they're important to me, but I'm happy where I am now." "Are you planning to go back permanently?" "I'm keeping my options open." Excellent. You answered warmly while protecting personal decisions. "I notice something changing. I feel less afraid of questions now." That's because you are learning control. Confidence is not controlling people, it is controlling your response. Now let's discuss another important moment. Sometimes you actually want to answer, but only partially. Partial sharing is a powerful skill. You share a small piece, not the whole story. Example. Question. "Why did your last relationship end?" Response. We grew in different directions. You shared truth without emotional exposure. That feels balanced. Balance builds mature communication. Now let's explore humor again, but carefully. Gentle humor can release tension. If someone asks, "How much do you weigh?" you might smile and say, "Enough to enjoy good food." That definitely changes the mood. Yes, humor transforms discomfort into connection. But remember, humor should protect dignity, never attack yourself. Now let's talk about self-confidence after conversations. Sometimes learners judge themselves harshly. They think, "I sounded awkward. I should have said something smarter." Yes, I replay conversations many times. Here's an important mindset. Every conversation is practice, not performance. You are learning social fluency. Even native speakers reflect and improve. That makes mistakes feel normal. They are normal. Growth happens through real interaction. Now I want to guide you through a confidence visualization. Imagine someone asks a very personal question. You feel calm. Your breathing stays steady. You smile gently. You choose your words slowly. You answer clearly. The conversation continues naturally. Your confidence comes from inner calm, not perfect English. I can actually imagine that now. Before, I imagined panic, and that mental image changes behavior. Your brain learns from imagination as much as experience. Now let's practice quick responses again. I ask, you answer calmly. Why don't you share more about your personal life? I like keeping some things just for myself. Why are you so private? That's just my personality. Are you hiding something? No, I just value privacy. Wonderful. Notice your tone. Relaxed, natural, confident. I feel more in control of conversations. And that control creates freedom. You no longer fear questions. You welcome conversations because you know you can guide them gently. And when learners reach this stage, something beautiful happens. English stops feeling like a test. It starts feeling like a safe space to express who you truly are. There's one last idea I want to share with you. When people begin learning English, they often believe fluency means speaking more vocabulary, more sentences, more explanations. But after many years of teaching, I've learned something different. True fluency often means knowing when not to say more. That feels surprising, but also true. Before today, I thought confidence meant always having an answer. Now I feel confidence also means choosing the right amount of answer. Exactly. You are not responsible for satisfying every curiosity. You are responsible for respecting your own comfort. And when you respect yourself, others naturally learn to respect you too. I think many learners needed to hear that because sometimes speaking English feels like standing in front of judgment. Yes, but conversations are not examinations. They are shared human moments. Some moments are light. Some moments are deep. Some questions are welcome. Some questions require boundaries. And mature communication allows all of these to exist peacefully. Let's revisit something important. Throughout our conversation today, you learned several powerful tools. Short answers, positive language, gentle humor, redirection, pause phrases, clear boundaries. These are not advanced grammar skills. They are life skills expressed through English. I realize now I don't need perfect English to sound confident. Exactly. Confidence comes from intention, not perfection. Let's imagine one final scenario together. You are meeting new people, maybe colleagues, maybe friends, maybe travelers from different countries. Someone asks a personal question. Instead of fear, you feel calm curiosity. You listen, you breathe, you choose your response. You answer kindly, you guide the conversation, you remain yourself. That version of me feels very real now, not nervous, just relaxed. And that is the transformation. You didn't learn complicated expressions, you learned emotional freedom in English. Because language becomes powerful when it protects your dignity and builds connection at the same time. There is something else I noticed. When I imagine answering calmly, I also feel more interested in other people. I'm not busy worrying anymore. Beautiful observation. When fear disappears, curiosity grows. You begin to enjoy conversations instead of surviving them. You listen better, you smile more, you respond naturally. And people feel comfortable around calm communicators. Now, I want to give listeners a small speaking practice you can try today. Think about one question that makes you uncomfortable. Maybe, how old are you? Why are you single? How much do you earn? Why did you leave your job? Choose one. Now, create a gentle boundary sentence. Something simple, something honest, something kind. Say it aloud. Practice it slowly. Let your voice sound relaxed, because confidence is a habit built through repetition. I want to try one. My uncomfortable question is, why are you so quiet? My answer would be, I like listening and understanding people first. That is a beautiful answer. It shows self-acceptance, and self-acceptance is the foundation of confident communication. I feel proud saying that. You should. Every learner deserves to feel proud while speaking English, not pressured, not judged, not afraid, just present, just human. Let's talk about something gentle before we close. Many learners wait for a future moment when they will finally feel confident. They think, when my grammar improves, when my accent changes, when my vocabulary grows. But confidence does not arrive later. Confidence begins the moment you allow yourself to speak imperfectly while respecting your own boundaries. So confidence is not the result of fluency. Fluency grows from confidence. Exactly. And today, you practiced something deeper than language. You practiced self-trust. You learned that you can stay kind without sacrificing comfort. You learned that privacy and friendliness can exist together. You learned that calm communication creates strong connections. I feel like conversations will be less stressful now, maybe even enjoyable. That is my hope for everyone listening, that English becomes a bridge, not a pressure. A space where you can meet people, share stories, and still feel emotionally safe. Before we finish, I want you to remember one sentence. You can repeat it quietly to yourself before conversations. I can be kind and protect my space. Let that sentence stay with you, because every confident speaker carries an inner message like this. Thank you for guiding us through this. I feel calmer just talking about it. Thank you for being honest and curious. Your questions represent so many learners around the world. And to everyone listening today, you are allowed to pause. You are allowed to choose your words. You are allowed to set boundaries. And you are absolutely capable of speaking English with grace and confidence. Thank you for spending this time with us on Speak English Confident. Keep practicing gently, keep speaking bravely, and most importantly, keep being yourself in every language you speak. And remember, confidence sounds calm. Yes, confidence sounds calm. Take care, and we'll speak again soon.